The problem with marketing can be, it can be fickle. It can seem to be very fickle. Like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You try this and it's great for a little while, then it fails. I'm going to give you the 5 things that I know to do. The way I keep, millions of dollars worth of marketing on the line within the path, right? How do you control your marketing spend so that it always makes you money, or at least almost all the time makes you money, right? You have a very high chance of being successful, and that the more money you spend on your marketing, the more successful it gets if you do these 5 things along with it. So the first thing is you got to keep stats. Keep statistics. Statistics are the great objective measurement of what's actually going on. So if you ran some marketing, say you ran $1,000 worth of marketing, how many new customers did you get? Track it best you can. And by the way, when I say keep the stats, do your best at keeping stats. Don't agonize over stats. You're not sure exactly where somebody came from a customer, or if there's extra clicks, it was you clicking or something like that on your ads, you know, but just keeping statistics and knowing that the stats can be wrong, as long as they're consistently wrong, you can still manage with them, right? So keep stats, keep track of your numbers. Don't just go, oh, I hope it's going well. Now, I said, how much did you spend versus how much did you get? That's the most gross level of statistics. There's all kinds of stats that are inside of that, like, well, how many people saw the ad? Of the number of people who saw the ad, how many clicked on the ad? Of the guys who clicked on the ad, how many actually signed up or made an appointment or what it is you're trying to do or bought the thing, right? Then of those guys, how much was the average purchase, right? How much of that was profit? Now, you can get crazy by having too many stats, because then you're starting to measure things that don't matter. Yes, you can measure lots and lots of things, but there's only usually 4 or 5 things that actually matter on helping the person come through, because all you're trying to do is be able to manage the campaign. The only reason you keep stats is so that you know which part of the campaign needs your help. Okay, so keep your stats, keep them written down, keep them week after week, month after month, however long you need to while you're marketing. That way you know what's going on objectively, not just, oh, I feel like it's working. Well, yeah, okay. No, what's the stats say? That takes away all the kind of baloney, right? All right, number 2, keep a change log. Every time you start or make any change to a marketing campaign or in the marketing campaign, log it down. Keep it on a piece of notepad, Google Doc, write it on something. Keep it someplace. You say, oh, change the headline on that ad, or I changed the placement for that ad, or I changed the budget on that ad. And you think, oh, I'll remember, no problem. A week from now, I'll totally remember. No, you won't. I'm going to tell you, you're going to forget, or you're going to misremember, which is worse, because if you misremember the changes and it's something it goes better or gets worse, you're going to think those were the changes or whatever, and you're going to start making bad decisions. So keeping a simple log keeps track of what you changed when on the marketing campaigns, so that you can go back and later on when something does really well, you can say, what did I do? There it is in black and white. Or it went terrible. What I do, right? Because you'll find very often a campaign's working pretty well and you make a little change to it, it goes down. You're like, oh gosh, just go back to just before the change and see what you changed and change it back. That's easy, right? But if you don't write it down, now you got to go out of your memory. And if your memory is off, if you get a little wrong, you kind of the details wrong, now you've lost your ability to actually control the campaign based on that, right? And which brings me really nicely and smoothly to the third point. Point 3 out of these 5 is diagnose with data. Don't too often marketers get bored, right? The most dangerous thing to a successful campaign is a bored marketer. Oh, I've been running the same ad for 3 months and it's working great. Yeah, let's change it. Wait, it's working great. Why are you changing it? Well, because I'm bored. Yeah, you might be bored, but the public's not bored. Don't change it, right? So you want to always diagnose with data, which is why you keep the stats I mentioned earlier and the change log, the second one, so you can then diagnose with data, which means you look and see what happened, and then you put your attention on that. So if the stats are going up and it's doing great, leave it alone, right? And if you make some changes and it goes up a little more, then no, that was what did it. No, do you think it did it? No, it was sunny that day or whatever. No, diagnose with the data. Let the data guide you on what to look at and what to fix and what was working and what is not working. That's easy, right? Don't go on feelings. Don't go, oh, I just think that's not a great ad. You're not the public for the ad. You're not the one the ad has to convince. It's the people buying the ad. And the people who are coming in the door, it's working. Well, quit messing with it. If they're not working, you think, but it's a great ad. You know what? If no one's responding, how to say, you might be great for owners of businesses like yours that would really love that ad, or you would be really love that ad. But the public, if you put it out there and the public don't respond, then diagnose with that data. The public didn't like that one. The next one is always be testing. This is, again, something you can't do unless you do the first 3, right? Keep stats, keep a change log, diagnose the data, and now keep testing. So you've got a campaign running. Usually we always have a champion challenger in my company. So there's a champion ad that's doing really well. This ad is the one that's doing good. This is our best performer right here, right? And then we always have off to the side running a challenger. The challenger's goal is to make a variation or make some changes, some fresh idea, put a small bit of the budget on it and see if you can get it to perform better than the champion ad. And sometimes you get a challenger that does okay, and your champion ad starts to fade because maybe the market gets tired of seeing that one, and you can just substitute in your challenger ad, and then you launch a new champion challenger ads. You have a new champion, right? So you always want to have a champion and a challenger. If you have just a champion and running and running and running, it's great. If it suddenly stops working, you're nowhere. You got no other testing that's been done. So always running tests to try to improve on it. Because even actually, here's the thing: say you've got a champion ad and it's making you great amounts of money, and you test this one and it does twice as well. Ha ha! Well, now it's your new champion, and you now start trying to make that one better. But you don't know if you just have it off a little bit. You've got to have a little bit of testing budget. It's just 10, 15% of your budget should be on testing. So you can always be trying to improve things and have something at least waiting in the wings should things go wrong with your main campaign with your champion ad. Okay. And then finally, stay up to date. And that is, especially when you're dealing with online platforms, but really almost any media these days requires you to keep your knowledge up to date. Facebook changes their interface almost literally every day. There's always some change happening on YouTube. There's some change happening on Instagram. There's some change happening on any media platform, any place you're broadcasting, any place you're trying to get new customers. There's constant change and competition going on. Most of the changes are actually for the good, but if you don't know how to use them, you can get destroyed. Just a quick example, and I'm going to do a whole video on this thing later on, but there's a checkbox in Facebook that looks like a checkbox. When you're running your ads in Facebook, it offers you a little checkbox. Oh, would you like to expand your market to reach more people? You go, oh yeah, you check the box. Well, you know what? For some businesses, not everybody, for some businesses, that will kill their results by 50%. I've seen it. We know it. We check the box and we uncheck the box. We saw it happen, right? And I tell you, you've got to stay up to date. You have to keep your education in. Now, like, for example, Facebook offers you unlimited free training. You go to business.facebook.com, business.facebook.com, that URL, and there's a whole bunch of training from Facebook. And you do that, it generally gets you up to square one, and you just stay up to date on the changes that come along after that. So be an expert. Basically, when you're spending money on marketing, you better know the systems and platforms that you're using at least well enough to make sure you're not losing money for dumb reasons, okay? If you're just out of date on things. If you run ads like even 5 years ago, the ads and things that worked 5 years ago just don't work now. It's just a different world. People have different perceptions. COVID changed a lot of people's ideas. That's why you're testing things, and the platforms are all different too. So anyway, so those 5 guideposts, I'm going to summarize them. So keep stats, you know what's going on. Use a change logs. You don't forget what worked and what didn't work. Diagnose with data, not just because you feel like you want to change the ad. Don't do that. Always be testing so that you're never left out without something that works well, and you're always challenging to do better and better and better, right? And then stay up to date on your marketing platforms and how the technology and things that you use, okay? You do those things, and you do them like just it's boring administrative stuff, but you do those things and your marketing will work a lot better. And the longer you do those things, the better it will work and the more stable it'll be and the more you'll be, just in control. And the whole idea about marketing, when marketing fails, it's usually just because some of those things I just mentioned were out and it was just not being controlled adequately by the marketer. That's you. All right. So hopefully you enjoy that. And if you need, ask some questions. I'm putting this out on social media. So if you want to comment or questions, whatever, I'll see that stuff and answer things. Otherwise, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye.